Supreme Court has reserved judgment on appeal filed by the Labour Party and its presidential candidate, Peter Obi, challenging PEPT judgment. Reports gathered that a 7-member panel of the Apex Court reserved judgment after parties in the appeal adopted their respective briefs of arguments on Monday. Earlier, the Apex Court reserved judgment in the appeal filed by the People's Democratic Party's presidential candidate, Atiku Abubakar, challenging the election of President Bola Tinubu. Still with us virtually, we have John Akerele and Chukwuma Okoro, both are public affairs commentators. So, John, I'm going to start by asking you, can you tell us the significance of the Supreme Court reserving judgment in this case?
Well, thank you for having me. I would not want to, preempt the judges or Supreme Court, but I think they also understand that even though we have the court of law, we also have the court of public opinion.
Okay.
And there are so many tension, in the country at the moment. And there are so many questions, yet unanswered. And the more these questions linger on, it's now a different case of all eyes on the judiciary.
Yeah.
Don't forget that all eyes on the judiciary was trending before now.
True.
At the appeal level. And after the appeal judgment was given for over 14 hours, that brought up the case of the Supreme Court. And for the case of Supreme Court, there are so many questions that are begging for answers. Some of these questions are, as a result of the disposition released by the Chicago State University, also, brought in a very new angle and perception to the ongoing case. And so that is why, the Supreme Court at this point in time will be looking for a way, to not go the same way of the appeal court, because it will be as if you are saying that some of these evidences are not tenable. And that's why previously I said to you that can we look at the substance of this case? Can we look at the substance that have been provided? Can we look at questions that should be answered directly? And then don't let us look at technicalities in this case. Moses, did you go attend the university? Yes, I did. Wasn't of university. Which kind of university? Simple. Why should you be saying we should go and ask your UC or your school needs to? No. If truly you have attended the university, you have your colleagues in year 1, you have your colleagues in year 2, you have your colleagues in year 3, year 4. Even when you have extra year, you have your colleagues. Some of us who have extra year. Some of us spend more than 4 years in the university. So we have our colleagues that we are normal students, and when we are abnormal students, we also have our colleagues as well. And so at this point in time, we can call those people and say, come and, help me on this case. But the other disposition document also revealed that even the Mr. President in question now did not even graduate. Okay? And why is it that I didn't graduate? They are saying for you to be a graduate of a school, there are some, criteria, prerequisite requirements you must fulfill before you can become a graduate, before you can have that BSc honors.
Yeah.
Okay? And some of these are the questions they are asking. Some of these methods, some of these requirements are not fulfilled by the so-called person. There's also a case of having two security number, that two security number on that same name. And there's somebody in Virginia, US today using one of the security number. And that person is also Bola A. And this person is a female. And so these are some of the disparities that are before the Supreme Court. And I think it will be so difficult for the Supreme Court to push all of these things away and say on the basis of technicalities. And I just wish that justice prevail and the Nigerians will learn that if you are part of those people who have been patronizing Oluwole in all of your dealings, just know that a time will come that if you are not able to verify all of your facts and figures, then you just have lies upon lies upon lies upon lies. And the more you lie, the more your integrity waters down, and then you become worthless in the society. Okay. And even your name will not be opening some doors.
Yeah. So you said something. You mentioned the fact that if he has his classmates come up to say, oh, he was our classmate, we know him, and all of that. Are you saying that in that situation, it's going to help with this case, say that, okay, his classmates are coming up to say that he went to the same school, he used to be our classmates, we know him very well and all of that?
My dear, this thing is simple. It's simple. All of us went to the university. Some lecturers will know you. Like in my own case, I have lecturers who will say, oh, John Akerele, I know him very well. Okay?
Yeah.
Some students will say, I know him very well. Even not in my department. Okay? Because we must have done one or two things on campus that will make us popular.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are that famous on campus, how come you don't even have those, not even 2, 3? I can say, okay, this person was my classmate. You that you're interviewing me now, don't you have a classmate?
Of course I do.
Simple. That's what we're saying. So the person in question would have, helped solve this issue by just a similar statement. This is me, this is the school I attended, these are my primary education, this is secondary education, this is my university, and this is this. Although I never graduated, because there are some people, and that's why I don't want us to try from this part. Okay? There are some people who, when they get to university, in their final years, maybe first semester 400, they have a carryover, or second semester 400, they have another carryover. And then they become spillover students. And spillover students, they become splash. When you spill, you splash. After splash, you splash. There's any English like that. Now, those sort of people are also students. And at the end of the day, they can now say, let my people go. And then they push them out to graduate the system. So in this case of our own president, we are asking this question. Did you graduate from Chicago State University? Because you are saying that your certificate is there. Chicago State University in their attribution is saying they never issued a certificate to you. So the question is, the certificate that was presented to INEC in your form that you are filling when you're contesting, where did you get the certificate from? Because your school says they never issued a certificate to you. So you can see that from that disposition, so many questions are coming out. If the school says we never issued a certificate to you, the question is, who issued the certificate you now submitted to INEC? That's one. Two, there is a case of an English 222 course that was never fulfilled, which is the criteria for graduation. If that aspect was not fulfilled, does that mean that you never graduated? And if you never graduated, that means they never issued you a certificate. Okay? Are you with me? So the point now is not that we are not saying you're not a student. You are a student. You were admitted in.
Okay.
Even on the point of your admission into the school, there are also some questions. How come your school in Lagos is the same school in Ibadan? Is
All right,
Lagos and Ibadan the same
thank
state?
you, John.
So these are some of the things that people are asking, and then
All right, then.
deal.
Okay, so now let me go to Chukwuma now. Let me get your thoughts now on this one. Now, Chukwuma, we are not trying to preempt the court here. We would not even do that. But, trying to make sense of it all now. The issue of proving beyond reasonable doubt, which is what our courts, basically ask lawyers to do for cases. And then in some cases, we move away from morals, all right? And so, okay, whatever the case may be, prove beyond reasonable doubt. Now, tell us how this particular reservation, reserving the judgment, will impact on the political landscape of Nigeria. And also, merge that with the idea that most cases has to be proven beyond reasonable doubt, even when there are evidences before you.
Okay, Moses, one thing, let me point out, reserving judgment in a case is normal. Reserving judgment in a case is normal because the Supreme Court has taken pleas from both sides, both the plaintiff and the defendant. So it's proper for them to reserve judgment, go back, study the matter, study the case legally, and now come up with a date that they will give judgment. Okay. So it's normal to reserve judgment. So the political implication is that, well, in the meantime, as the judges banter with the case, as they juggle with the case, as they do surgery with the fine points or the finer points of whatever that is involved in the case, all eyes still remain on the judiciary. And like I said earlier, there is no better time for Nigerians to put their eyes on the judiciary than now. The Supreme Court, on its own, have severally said that the era of technicalities in cases are gone. Oh. And for one thing, let's understand, Peter Obi's case differs from what Atiku is pursuing. P2B says, clearly, I won the case, I won the election based on the total number of votes cast. I even won the FCT, which the president did not win. Now, INEC shortchanged me by not using the BVAS and the IREF to transmit elections. If they go and produce the accurate figures, you will discover that I actually won the elections, not Tinubu, not Atiku Abubakar. So the PEPT said, no, you could not prove beyond reasonable doubt that you won the case, because out of thousands of polling units, you couldn't produce up to even 1/4 data to show or to prove that you won the election. And now, throughout his case, P2B is insisting, no, you cannot use that. I have facts that show that I won the election. In Atiku's case, Atiku is asking the Supreme Court to admit fresh evidence that will help him in pursuing his matter to the conclusive end. And that Chicago State University has denied issuing the certificate that was submitted by our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. These are the two different cases for which they have reserved judgment. And I think on the Atiku case, the Supreme Court will give judgment on whether they will admit fresh evidence before or on the 5th of November. Beyond that, the political implication for us is this. The issue of our president's certificate has been overflowed. And the Supreme Court said something yesterday that I don't know how they managed to, how that thing came out from their mouth, because they actually indicted themselves. They said that CSU has issued two different statements on Tinubu's certificate. That is to show you clear. You don't need to go to any soothsayer. The evidence is already circumstantial that the man has issues with his certificate. So they don't use the issue of technicality or whatever, to quash the case in favor of President Tinubu. Now, there's something I want to say. Before now, it was possible after elections to to adjudicate all the electoral cases before swearing in. And that would have been the proper thing to do in this case. I think either in 79 or what time it was possible to dispense with all the cases before swearing in, so that the person will now concentrate and not be distracted by litigations in court. Apparently, our president is distracted. He's campaigning from here to there. And again, he's run back to the United States to say, FBI, please don't release my documents. Just exactly what he did to CSU. I wonder why the man is hiding. And in the interim, the Supreme Court, the case is no longer between Tinubu and Atiku or Obi. On Tinubu's side, you have 47 ministers. You have the Inspector General of Police. You have the DG of SSS. You have the Army Chiefs. You have the CG, the Controller General of Customs, of Immigration, everything. Because the moment you say Tinubu is removed from office, every other person, all the 47 ministers, every other person that he had appointed has lost his job. So you now discover that the case is not between the president and Tinubu and Atiku or Obi. It's between a whole lot of powerful people who can put pressure, massive pressure, on the institution of the judiciary to swing it in favor of the sitting president, even now, when evidence is clear.
Doesn't that buttress the fact that cases of elections in court should be concluded before swearing in, before appointment of ministers?
That is what I said. That is exactly what I said. That cases should have been dispensed with before swearing in. So that, for instance, if Buhari was in power and this case was on, the elements of pressure from the government would have been less on the judiciary than it is now. It's possible that Buhari might have disagreed with the ambition of the current president. His handlers could have said, no, allow the judiciary to do its work. But now, the president has the instrument of state power. He has everything at his disposal to suppress. And like I said the other day, judiciary has been defined by some high-level judges as the will of the stronger party. And in this case, it is possible that the president is the stronger party and he's using every means available to make sure that he suppresses the wishes of he suppresses the judiciary. Because I don't see how the Supreme Court can say CSU issue 2 statements bordering on the president's certificate. It clearly shows you that the man has issues with his certificate. You know, and look at what Jega said the other time. Jega said, I think 3 days ago, Jega said that the power to appoint INEC chairman should be taken away from the presidency because it makes the person on that seat to compromise. Moses, that statement was weighty. Coming from a former chairman of INEC, the man knows what he passed through, and that is why he's offering that advice that that the power to appoint the chairman of INEC should be removed from the president, probably deposited somewhere, either in the National Assembly or whatever, so that the person is independent, but the person is no longer independent because he is appointed by one man. You get what I'm saying? Mm. So the whole issue of the person that is on trial now is Nigerian judiciary, is the Supreme Court that is on trial. Not even the case, because everybody even my son in high school understands, Daddy, what are they always talking about, this Buhari certificate, this Tinubu certificate? I read somewhere that CSU said that the one that he presented to INEC, there was not was not issued by it. So what are we talking about? A child in high school is telling me that. And this case has become, like I said, a sore in the conscience of Nigeria, and it's impacting negatively. What I expect the president to do is to eat the humble pie, come out to Nigerians, apologize. Nigerians are forgiving people. Bill Clinton, after telling series of lies for more than 18 years, right from when he was governor up to the time he became president, in one moment, he had apologized to Americans, even when he had been impeached by the House of Representatives. Yeah. It was the Senate that acquitted him. The man apologized, and Americans forgave him, and he turned out to be one of America's best presidents, I think, in the last 100 years or so. So what are we talking about? Nigerians are forgiving people, have forgiving hearts. This man should just come and say, hey, guys, I'm sorry, it's okay.
Yeah. So, Chukwuma, tell me, what are your concluding thoughts?
On what?
On everything that we've spoken about today.
Everything that we've spoken about is that the judiciary should understand that the president is not on trial. Atiku Abubakar is not on trial. It is the judiciary that is on trial because the cases, even circumstantially, are very clear. The man forged the certificate. It is very simple. And the Supreme Court itself said there is no place for certificate forgers going forward. So they should leave their words, because a man's word is bond, right, except they want to go down in history as people who supervised the final death slaughtering of our judicial system.
All right. Thank you very much. To you, John, please tell us your concluding thoughts.
I think for me, we should all understand that whatever we are doing now, posterity will always judge us. There was a time in this country that the date was 1960. There is a time in this country that is 2023. There will be a time in this country that is going to be 2070. At that point in time, when they mention our names as office holders, as Chief Justice, as AGM, or whatever position you are holding, what will be said about you as to what you did when you are in position of authority? How are you able to advance the mode of democracy? Or are you part of those people who bury democracy in broad daylight? Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you very much, John Akerele and Chukwuma Okoro, both public affairs commentators and journalists. We do appreciate you for your thoughts and your time. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll delve into business, entertainment, and sports. Stay with us.